I knew that I needed to find my purpose, and real estate was that vehicle that I always was inclined, but I never knew how it worked. I wanted to have a lifestyle that allowed me freedom for my time and freedom for my money. Real estate clubs are not usually to help them educate about everything you need to do about real estate. It's about networking and knowing the people that will help you on that journey. The reality is, if we want to start our business or even design our life, get it to the next level, you should have clarity. And planning is going to be part of that solution. Mindset is a start point, is a mindset. Like, why is that you want to do real estate investing? What kind of strategies do you want to apply? Quickly, I understood that if I wasn't working on my dream, I was working in someone else's dream. Building a real estate empire doesn't start with buying property. It starts with making a decision about who you're willing to become and what you are willing to focus on. If you ever felt overwhelmed by the idea of starting in real estate, or if you are still on the sidelines wondering, where do I start? Am I ready for this? Or worse, what if I fail like so many others after the first deal? You're not alone. Most aspiring investors hesitate because they don't know where to begin. Here's the truth. Every month you hesitate, someone else is closing the deal you could have had. I remember sitting at my kitchen table, staring at my bank account balance, $35. I had just walked away from a 6-figure engineering job. Of course, no guarantees, no safety net. And in that moment, second guessing everything, I made a decision. Playing small wasn't an option anymore. This video isn't about adding another line to your LinkedIn or getting distracted by every next big deal everyone's hyping online. I get that. I love investing. I love real estate. This video is about waking up 6 months from now. Imagine this: owning your income, owning your future, owning your legacy. That's what we want, freedom. Whether you're looking to grow your personal real estate portfolio as a passive investor, or if you're an active investor ready to finally raise the capital you need to scale your business, I invite you to click in the link below to explore both our current investment opportunities and our advanced capital raising training. But what I'm really sharing today is the exact 7 shifts that flipped that moment for me, where I needed to make a decision, and it was between survival or really getting all in. And if I could go from broke to buying hotels and managing over $150 million in real estate assets, so you can do it too. So let's dive in. I'm going to get interviewed by many real estate entrepreneurs that want to know what was my recipe for success.
Welcome. Oh my gosh. Jen, welcome. I read the bio, but let's put some fresh flesh and blood on. You were a lady over here, clearly corporate world, and then you take a nosedive into the entrepreneurial world. And so why would you do that?
I think that's a great question, Christina. I think that a lot of people at some point in life, they find a purpose, a different purpose that guide them in a different route. And I'm very grateful for my corporate career. I learned everything that I could about leadership, about processes, about systems, and running big corporations. But there's that time that you start measuring what is the most important thing for you. And that's what happened with me. It was 2012. My mother is diagnosed with cancer, and I wanted to spend time with her. And the fact that I needed to ask permission to my boss to go and spend time with her, it was pretty annoying. And also I was going through a lot of personal challenges, relationship challenges. So it was a lot of pain, let's call it like that. And I said, I have the opportunity to start all over again. I just going to quit my job. Even when I got a really great promotion, I cut my salary. I got a 6-figure income promotion. And it was just after that, just to give you an idea, it was technical and operation VP, director of different not marketing, but production areas for Nestle. So going through that pain, I knew that I needed to find my purpose, and real estate was that vehicle that I always was inclined, but I never knew how it worked. So one day I was talking to my brother, right? Because when we were trying to find our path, we talked to people that we trust. And he talked to me about that book, the Rich Dad Poor Dad book.
That book, the purple book that almost all of us have read, have inspired us to invest in real estate. Yes.
Yes. That the purple Bible, I call it. So I read that book, Christina, and I have to tell you, I finished it in 1 week. I was enrolled in coaching, and I just knew that this is exactly the path that I wanted to try. I didn't know if it was going to work because I don't think that we ever know. But what I knew is that I have a purpose. I have a strong why I was doing what I was doing for the freedom, financial freedom, for the freedom of time to be able to spend as much as time as I wanted with my mother without having to ask anybody but me. And it was multiple steps. It was multiple situations that caused me to want to find a different path. And I ended in real estate. And after reading that book, I'm like, I'm doing this thing. It was that decision, that commitment that it didn't matter what, I was willing to try and fail forward if it was needed just to succeed and find a way, my own way to be successful in whatever path I choose to.
Okay. You clearly had a moment where you chose a certain type of freedom over another type of freedom. You did not take the 6-figure job that you were going to be offered when you had $35 in the bank. You doubled down on the risk. I hear you saying you're risk averse, girl, but I'm just telling you the story to support it. You double down on the risk of choosing to be an entrepreneur. Why would you choose that for your financial freedom? And what does financial freedom mean to you?
Oh, that's a great question, Christine. So I guess that in life, right, there's that, I say I'm risk averse in numbers, but at the same time, I'm reward driven.
Okay.
And there was something stronger for me that I wanted when I decided to jump and not take that job without parachute, risking everything. And the reason for that is I wanted to have a lifestyle that allowed me freedom for my time and freedom for my money. My parents they worked so many hours every day to put my brothers and I through college. And I saw how they were suffering about money, how they were living penny to penny, always servicing people as a police officer, as a nurse. They didn't know anything different than service. And for me to see them struggle at some point with money, with their health, and not being able to go there and spend that time,
Right.
I say no. No, I want to have the ability not only financially to take care of them, but also give them the things that they were not able to get because they were working all the time for us. Being able to send them in a trip, in a cruise, go to Florida and hang out with his sister, all of those things. That was more important for me. I don't have a family yet. But another thing that happened in that process, Christina, when I was talking to the Nestle directors, VPs, and the higher executive leaders as women, is that these women were missing out time with their family and their kids. They were seeing their kids not through Zoom at that time, it was Skype. But then seeing that lifestyle for me, it was a no-no. It was a no-no. It's like, I don't want that. No matter how much money they pay me, I will create my lifestyle. So even if I don't make as much money, I will spend time with my mother because no one is going to give me that one back. And that was the decision there. It's like, I don't care, right? If I crash, no one is going to take my career. I can start all over again.
Right? Exactly. I can do another round. I can interview again. If I end up homeless, I can work that out, right? Yeah. No, it's serious. It's in Rich Dad Poor Dad. It's in the book Rich Dad Poor Dad. That part of the reason what makes good entrepreneurs is a higher risk tolerance, literally having to do with how much do you need physically in your life to feel safe, right? And then that gives you actually more space to handle the risk of investing in something like a real estate, because what you need in life isn't a big home and a big car and a vacation home and lots of trips. What you need is this, whether it's family or love or community or friendship. What you need isn't necessarily the physicality.
Yes. And Christina, I would like to add something there too, because I think this is where my self-development become very important.
Okay.
When I jump without parachute, I have full faith, and I put my faith not on the things and the worries and the things that might miss or go wrong, but that whatever was the result, it was going to be the right path for me to go where I needed to go. And that was something that held me really strong, even when I was scared. Because if people ask me, I was really scared. Are you really scared? I was very scared. So
Things you're jumping without a financial parachute. Like, yeah, you're really scared.
yes, it is scary. It's like, yeah, I can get homeless. I can do this. I don't know how it's going to be. But at the end, what I know is whatever I land is going to be my journey for the next place where I need to go. So there was the logical reason, and there was like the faith reason, right? And I learned that from Think and Grow Rich book, right? It's like that part of the faith when you are concerned, when you are so worried, is because you're putting your faith in the wrong things. And that really gave me the courage to do what I needed to do to work where I am today.
The common question that they ask is, I want to learn more, right? How can I start begin investing in real estate? But then we told them, look, we are not an education firm. We are a real estate brokerage, which means that there is so much we can do as far as education on the Tuesday night, but we are not a training company.
Correct. And one of the things that it helps people a lot is to understand that real estate clubs are not usually to help them educate about everything you need to do about real estate. It's about networking and knowing the people that will help you on that journey. But because of that process, I started my education. When I met you, I started my education with some of the biggest companies out there. And one of the things that was very challenging is they have an amazing training, but they were training in the wrong stuff. So how do you help people really move forward? Because making numbers, that's the easy part. That's the formula. You plug in the numbers, and that's not a challenge. It's more working in the things that are stopping you as a real estate investor. And once I work on those reasons of those things that are holding you back, then that's when you start moving.
It's a mindset.
It's a mindset. It's a start point. It's a mindset. Like, why is that you want to do real estate investing? What kind of strategies do you want to apply? And for me, it was very challenging because I came from a corporate background, worked for top 500.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Let's talk about you and your background. Let's talk since the beginning. How did you get started investing in real estate?
Well, for me, it was more like a personal growth. I wanted to create wealth for myself, not for everyone else. And quickly, I understood that if I wasn't working on my dream, I was working in someone else's dream. And I had a great experience with those top 500 Fortune companies, saved them millions of dollars in a few years. Like, we're talking about 3 years, I saved them few million.
What do you do before?
I was an industrial engineer.
Industrial engineer for Nestle, right?
Nestle, and before that, Johnson & Johnson.
Okay.
Yes. And in that process, I got many promotions, but then I find out that I needed to do something different. I needed to find time for myself, for my family, and I decided to start learning about real estate investing. The advantages of those who have a strategy and write an effective plan from those who doesn't is that they get more productive. They get more clarity, more focus, and they're most likely to succeed on those plans. And planning is not the only thing you need, but it's a great opportunity to start finding that clarity and get really focused and more productive. The reality is, if we want to start our business or even design our life, get it to the next level, you should have clarity. And planning is going to be part of that solution, right?
So here's the thing. Most people who get into real estate, they're kind of like this shiny object syndrome. Like, do I be a flipper? Do I be a, right? The flipper is always the one everybody's like, oh, I'm going to be a flipper, right? Do I be a flipper? Do I be the capital raiser? Do I be a wholesaler? Do I be a real estate agent? Do I be a real estate investment a REIT? Do I try to run a REIT? Do I be an investor? Do I run a multi-unit? Do I do the multi-unit personally? Do I get like, if people get this sort of like hard money notes, tax liens, there's so many areas. So people like shiny object syndrome, like first year, they're like, I have no idea. And sometimes it lasts for 3 years or 4 years, right? Like, where they feel like they're like, and you're saying you landed on capital raising really quickly. How'd you land on capital raising so quickly? Like,
oh, that's a pretty interesting story. It's my great failure that propelled me forward.
Yes. These chose where not to go, just as much where to go.
Oh my God, yes. And I will say, I got sick of the shiny object because I did all of that. I did tax lien, tax deeds, non-performing note, performing notes, you name it. I did each of them, 1 deal, 2 deals, but I never become an expert. But through the process, as you're learning, you're investing money in marketing, money in the deal, money in the assistance, money in the processes. And suddenly your account keeps going down when the money is not coming in. So everything is going out. So what happened is, when I got into real estate and my first deal, it was 2012, perfect timing on the market to get into real estate. So I was very lucky. I wasn't a genius. The only thing that I knew about real estate, to give an idea to people, it was monopoly. That's the only thing I knew about real estate. I learned what was an escrow when I bought my first home after 3 months in coaching. That's how it happened. So I see all of these strategies and I want to invest in all of them, and I start putting money in all of them. But then I have an amount of money saved, an amount of money for investments. That money in California, it went out pretty quickly. And I wasn't having results because I was squirrel, looking for every shiny object. All of them are great assets, great strategies. But if you don't focus, it's going to happen what happened to me. It was 2014 when I quit my job officially. On January 31st was my last day. I get out of my job and I was all excited because I'm going to go for this path. I didn't have a plan, but I knew I was going to make it happen somehow, some way. And as I'm going through all of that, I invested in some deals with some people that went sideways and I lost my money, right? And it was money that I had saved. And I did many mistakes, especially as a private lender. You trust people, you like people, you don't do your due diligence, you don't figure out how to structure properly. So guess what? Every penny, I did some money, and at the same time, I lost some money. So I was in a neutral position. In the meantime, I am paying for all of these processes and systems for each strategy. And I ended with $35 on my account.
Ow.
That's it.
Ow.
Really has,
That's a freak out.
It is a freak out. So here,
It is a freak out. So $35 in my account. In 2 weeks, I have to pay my mortgage. I don't want to tell my parents. I spent all my money, all my savings, all my investments, you name it. I'm not kidding. $35 on my account, Christina, and I have only 3 credit cards. And guess what? They're maxed out.
They max out.
So I'm here crying like a little girl. Like, what the heck did I do? I rejected a 6-figure income salary to come to this point. And what is the first thing I do? I go and apply for a job. Hey, that's what I did.
Yeah, sure. That's what you've known in the past. That's what you do.
Yeah. So here's what happened, because this is where my story changed. So I'm in the middle of this situation and I decide to go to a network event. And in that network event, it was a women's group. It was Wine Women and Wealth with a really dear friend. And I met someone special that that she's a founder of the Women Real Estate Network. And yes, I have done all of these great deals and I was doing very well. And suddenly everything clashes. So I'm at the edge. And she invites me to another event. The event cost is $20. I have $35. And I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to do. So they get me into the event and they say, oh, don't worry, you don't have to pay. But I show up. The next day, I show up for that event knowing that it doesn't matter what, I already know that either now, later, or in the future, I want to do real estate. That was my commitment. There was no doubt on that. And that was a key thing for me. So here's what happened. For the first time, I heard what was other people's money. For the first time. I heard a little bit, but I didn't know what that meant. Right. So someone explained it to me. And next day, I set up an appointment with that person. But in the morning, I went to my interview. And through that interview, there was no brainer because of the companies I work and the results that I have. I got the job in 24 hours and they offered me actually the salary that they gave me in Nestle for even a lower position. So I had less responsibilities. So I'm getting ready to get that job. I'm like, I need to pay my mortgage. I need that money. But after I spoke with this guy about how he will raise capital, Christina, I'm like, oh, I know some people that might have money. I'm just going to give them a call. I don't know how this works, but I can be part of the deal. Who are the people in the deal, what they did. And because of my past mistakes and the mess ups that I did with the other as a private lender, I already knew a little bit about what not to do.
Yes, the one not to do.
Yes. So I'm like, I don't have any money to pay for mentors. I don't know many people that do these things. Who do I supposed to talk to, right? It's an entire new business. So I remember that one of the girls that I met, she was a lawyer. So I gave her a call. It's like, hey, this guy is offering me to pay this amount of money and be part of the deal. Is that okay? And she's like, sure, just send me the contract and I will do it for you. It's going to cost you $1,500. And I'm like, I don't have that amount of money. Can I give you $20?
I have 35 in my account. Last time I checked.
But here is the interesting, and I think that this is one of the breakthroughs that help a lot, Christina. I didn't focus in the process. I focus in the end goal. And I say, if I do this, when I do this, I'm going to do this amount of money and I can pay this girl. And the only thing I ask her, okay, I understand. That sounds good. What about when do I need to pay you? Can I pay you after you do the work and all that? Oh, sure, Jennifer, that's no problem. And I'm like, yes.
Yes. Okay.
So how I end up raising capital. So I make a few calls for a few engineer friends that have $50,000 in their account and $100,000 in their account. And I invested with this guy in a project that it was an amazing project, great returns. And suddenly I got my check. And that check paid for that lawyer, for my mortgage, and for my utilities, right? And at the same time, I have 48 hours to accept my offer for the job. And I say, no. I'm going to fail. I'm going to jump without parachute, knowing in fate that if this meant to be for me, it's going to fly as it has been, it's coming from a higher purpose. It's not me. And when I did that and suddenly it flows so smoothly, I figure out that this was my specific, path. And through that, I start learning about successful operators. And I say, wait a minute. I understand how to look at the numbers. I understand how to evaluate people. I know how to meet people and say yes, no, and how to structure things. Why am I going to do the job if they're awesome at what they do? And apparently I know how to raise capital, whatever that means, right? But that was the start of my career in raising capital. I start partnering up with potential great operators that have a really good history of failure and success. Because if they didn't fail at some point, I didn't want to work with them.
That's right. Yes, if they have not failed and they can't tell me about their story of failure, I don't want to. I don't want to work with you because you just haven't. It's kind of like driving without ever having hit anything, right? It's like,
Yes. Oh my God. Yeah.
you can say that you've driven a car for 3 weeks and you've not hit anything. I believe you. But if you say you've driven a car for 5 years and you haven't even dinged a bumper, I'm a little like, how have you driven a car for 5 years and you never dinged a bumper? You never learned where the edges of your car are. I don't know what that is for me, but it's like, we need to know where your edges are. You need to hit something so you know where the edges are. So you understand what works, what doesn't work, because there's something about success. We assume it's all good. But when you have a failure is when you have to sit down and dissect what worked and what didn't work. It's when you have to hold yourself accountable and you got to rise up to a bigger self, to a bigger sense, right?
Yeah.
To a bigger level of responsibility and accountability to yourself and to others.
So the relationship, I want to make sure people understand, my team and I, we are a real estate brokerage, which means that you have to know what you want, then
Yes.
you use us to execute your plan. But if you come in with no plan, then,
You cannot help.
we are, So
Okay. And it's one of the biggest challenges for people too. They go to a lot of brokers, realtors, and they start calling people, but they don't have clarity about what they want.
Yeah.
When you go to these kind of classes, you start understanding where is where you are and where is you want to go and how to close that gap.
Yeah.
And when that's what they can come back to you, hey Rudy, this is exactly what I need.
Right.
So
it's like when you go to a stockbroker asking for your financial advice.
Correct.
That's probably not good thing to do, right?
right, exactly.
Yeah, so there's a role. So everybody has a role in this transaction. You just have to make sure you surround yourself with the right team.
Exactly. Correct. And just to give them an idea, before I started making business with you, I interviewed around 300 realtors.
I mean, broker. How do you live with
Every day I was calling 10 realtors and brokers. That was my goal, to find the correct broker that will help me work with deals, and after that you start figuring out who are the ones that really want to work with you and help you through the journey of real estate investing. Which ones are the ones that speak the same language as you, like investor, and not as a retail buyer. Because that takes a lot of practice. So after 300 interviews, really you learn. It's like who to work with. And that's one of the reasons why I choose your team when we got together to sell one of my houses and start making more business.
I didn't know that story.
Yeah. Well, I know.
So let's talk about it. Then we're gonna go back to your Women's Investors Club. So you interview 300, because the most people interview us maybe 10.
No.
Like I never had people. You know everybody because you go to a lot of networking events. So I'm sure you have a lot of. You interview 300 real estate agents.
Yeah, 300, and I can give you the names of the list.
I don't think I even talked to 300 real estate agents.
I'm talking about, so I was saying like 60% were California, other ones were in Texas, and other Florida.
What did you find? Like, what stood out, I guess, right? Because you interview my team, and so I'm sure there's something there. So what stood out?
Oh, 3 things right away I can tell you. First of all, you are not the common realtor broker that says, I'm just going to list your house and I'm going to sell it to the higher price. You guys have a really great strategy on how to market houses, and you already have these lists of buyers waiting for people, waiting for deals, waiting for houses. Right there, it's showing me that you are a proactive broker and a realtor, and your team is really proactive. That was the number one that stood up right away.
That's a big one. There's a big problem. I told when we sold homes, because I have properties out of states and stuff like that. Every time we sell, you know what happened? Real estate agents, because they don't have a buyer, you know what they do? If you're the owner, Jen, hire me to sell your homes because I don't have a buyer. I'm going to advertise looking for buyers.
Yeah.
The way we are doing it, you hire me because we already have done it. We have over 23,000 buyers who's looking to buy in the area. So it's as if I've been working for you long before we met.
Yeah.
It's a huge difference because that means we already have a head start while my competitors still trying to advertise your home.
Yes.
We already have multiple offers.
Correct.
At the end of the day, who wins? Our clients have multiple offers for the home. That's huge because our mission in our team is to change real estate industry, because I think in real estate industry there's a lot of smoke and mirror. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a lot of shiny objects. Shiny object. When you hire me, I'm gonna make like a nice brochure of your house. how's a nice brochure help me so much? Do you think the buyers are stupid enough to, to buy a $600,000 home based on the flyers?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, like really, like this is what real estate agents are telling their clients. Wow, I'm good. You remember that
Of course.
how long ago? When did the duplex? Was it a duplex or something?
It was in April as when we
April.
saw about duplex. Yeah. April this
But you're still in Manhattan.
I remember a lot of things, and I remember a couple of deals that Kyle shared with me too, and it's a whole system that you have in place that really impressed me. I'm like, yeah,
You remember what? What about the second reason? We never got. This is good. We never really talk. Usually you went with my partners and stuff. We never really talk to each other. This is like good happening all life.
well, that was the first one, definitely. The second one is that you are an investor. I cannot talk to retail sellers, realtors, and brokers if they're not investing. It's like bringing an electrician to fix my plumbing. That doesn't make sense to me. If you're not an investor and you haven't made money on real estate, I don't think I want to work with you.
Yeah, it's different language.
It's a completely different language.
It's like you're hiring a brain surgeon to operate. You know what I mean? It's like it's weird. You know what I mean? Like you haven't done it yet. It's all theory, right?
Exactly. And here in LA, and I'm going to do a guesstimate, 3 out of 4 people have a real estate license.
Yeah, I think it's easier to get a real estate license than for you to get your DMV driver license.
Correct. Yeah, I think so.
On the GMV license, I think that you have to pass certain things. On the real estate, anybody, we can get anybody license in less than 3 weeks. You know what I mean? So this is like extremely low entry level.
Yeah.
But profession. But so that's why I like the fact that you interview 300 agents, because that means most people, they hire real estate agents because they are a nice guy.
Yeah.
Or just because I know them.
Yeah.
You are trying to sell the most expensive, probably for the average people who's watching this, the most expensive investment in your life. Let's say it's a $1 million transaction. You are about to hire somebody $30,000, $40,000, $50,000. If you are getting a job in your corporate America job, $50,000 position.
Yeah, that's an.
What do you think a Nestle gonna do? Nestle is gonna like interview you.
Yeah.
But it's amazing how a typical home sellers hiring a real estate agents, paying tens of thousands of dollars simply because, oh, they're a nice guy.
They're nice. Oh, they're their friends.
Oh, yes, my friends here. My friends here working McDonald's full time. They have a real estate agent part time. I just want to help them.
Exactly. It's like and that's when you really need to identify what is charity and what is business.
Yeah, I'm not saying if you're not to help, we have a lot of people, by the way, I don't want to make sure people don't get my message wrong here, right? We build hospitals, we build clinics. We are one of the highest contributor for the Children's Hospital in Los Angeles. But if I'm doing donation, I'm not going to hire my insurance agent based on, oh, this guy have an insurance agent part-time working McDonald's full-time. I'm not doing charity when I'm doing this, because you are responsible for your family financial welfare.
Exactly. And you just mentioned the other reason why. For me, it's very important to work with someone who contributes to the community. And if you're a broker and you can be the number one broker in a specific areas, because I interview one of those, but this person was only about the money and the business. And it's okay. I respect that. But
nothing wrong with that.
yeah, exactly. But if you don't have the other side, it's like, what is that your team is doing for the community? What is that we are doing to help people out there, not only my friend? Right. And I'm like, yeah, so that's the part that I will say that create that decision too. And just because it's important for me. And one of the things that I learned in that interview process is you're going to match on personalities and mission and vision and values.
Yeah.
And that's something when I was doing my research about you and your team, seeing your values, and actually before they were in here too, seeing your values, that explained to me why is that I choose your brokerage company to work with me.
Yeah.
And part of the thing is because I learned in that process that it's not about finding deals, it's about making deals. And that was very like a big shift for me. So
that's a good one what you said there. You make a laminate out of lemons.
Yeah.
Right? There's no such thing. People that give me a good deal. It's like you don't even know what you want, right? Anything is you can make money out of anything.
correct.
Right? But if you know.
It depends.
right? It could be a deal if you know what to do with it.
Exactly.
Otherwise, it's just nothing.
Yeah, I remember, and this is very interesting. I remember bringing one of my deals here. That deal was in Bakersfield, and it was a rehab, and no one wanted that deal. And I'm like, well, I know it's a good deal, so I got that deal, and we did some negotiations with the seller, and right now we are cash flowing $1,100 net for an investment of $10,000.
Wow. And that's what perceived as nothing. Yeah.
Yeah, so people didn't knew how to look at the deals. Just because I learned how to put deals together, that's what it makes a huge difference.
With the thinking process, basically, right? The deal is a deal, right? It's just an asset.
That's
That's a house, right?
what can you do with a mouse?
It's not the mouse. It's not the house. It's what's in here. Basically, that's what you're saying.
Cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good. Okay. And then, what else are they expecting?
So that's another thing. It's about how to make deals happen, how to put the deals together, not how you find the deals. And that's the number one problem here in LA. So the other thing that
That's good. And that's association.
Yeah.
Because if you association means who you hang out with matters, right? Because if you hang out with people who's thinking, oh, the whole element, there's no deals in Los Angeles, then that's what you got.
Exactly.
All right.
Exactly. You can put deals together, but one of the things that is important is to understand where you are right now, because it might be a deal somehow, right? It might just not be a deal for you, but you might know someone who will love that deal, and that's different. See, you can get a deal out of the deal.
Yeah.
So that there's so many things that
You're talking about some people more important about cash flow, some people a lot about capital gain, depending on different individual.
Yeah, people trying to save taxes. So some people will say, I want to buy a property with negative cash flow. And some people will say, why would I do that? Well, because they need the tax breaks more than what they need the cash flow. And that will make sense to them. So people get like, but that's not common sense. And it's like, well, it depends. It's about the numbers.
On the individuals.